Broken Bow fans. Hey, they're going crazy out here. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, going crazy. Going crazy for us as Broken Bow fans. Hey, welcome back to the podcast, The Southeast Beast. This is Skip Copeland alongside Chris Chandler. And, we've got a great football game to review this time. Man, the 111th meeting between the Broken Bow Savages and the Idabel Warriors came down to a photo finish, so to speak. And Chris, that must have been a very fun game to broadcast.
That is everything you want in a high school football game, a rivalry game. It was exhilarating, exhausting, terrifying at times, and just one of the most exciting games I've seen in one of the most exciting series I've ever seen. And as you said, it came down to the last moment. I mean, both teams had great plays from great players, just everything you would want. If you were, from another planet and said, hey, I want to see a great high school football game and get what this high school football thing is about, the 2022 edition of the Little River Rivalry was exactly that.
Yeah, it really was. It was a lot of fun. They exchanged touchdowns. They tied the game twice. They were tied once at 7, then again at 14. And then the Warriors came back in the final minute of the football game to have an opportunity to tie or go for the win. And we'll get to that part just a little bit later, but let's talk about the game as a whole first. Chris, the thought that the Idabel Warriors playing up a couple of classes against the Broken Bow Savages really did play well, especially up front on the line of scrimmage. They gave a Savage team that had success up front against McAllister and Durant, but Idabel gave them all they wanted in the trenches.
Yeah, they're coming in from 2A, and then again, Broken Bow playing have yet to play anybody in Class 4A. Of course, they will in 2 weeks when they start district play, and they'll be exclusively for the rest of the season. But, man, Idabel, I tell you, it is a rivalry game, but, boy, they really showed up. They had a really good game plan, and they executed it well. Broken Bow had to respond, and they did respond well. Again, one of the most physical games I've seen yet this season. And you consider Broken Bow against McAllister and Broken Bow against Durant with big bruising linemen. But, man, there was hitting going on all over the place. And trenches is a good analogy. It is. It's been called the Little River War before. And, man, you had those 3 huge linemen for Idabel. Very, very similar to the 5A teams that Broken Bow has played earlier. A lot of slugfest type blocking and, line battle going on, but also a lot of highlights above that, aerial battle, a lot of long passes are attempted and some completed, and some running to the perimeter as well as running up the middle. It had everything you would want in a football game, and just came down to a photo finish ending, and it is an all-time classic in this series, and it's the most storied series in Oklahoma high school football. It was just a great game.
The Warriors, to their credit, just kept coming back on the Savages. Every time the Savages would score, the Warriors would score as well in response to it until we got right down there to the finish line, and the Warriors had to make the choice, Chris. Scotty Pratt had to make the choice as to whether or not to go for 2 to try to win the football game or to kick and, see if you could tie the game and go into overtime.
Yeah, Idabel scored in the final minute, scored a touchdown and made it 21-20, and had to decide whether they're going to go for 2 or kick an extra point, and they did decide to go for 2. Call timeout, talk things over, come out, go for 2, throw it, and the Savage defense responded well. There were like 5 Broken Bow players flying to the football, got a deflection and knocked it down. No good. And then Broken Bow recovers the onside, wins, 21-20. And I know that there are some people that are criticizing like the decision to go for 2, but come on, man. It's that old adage, Skip, like if you're on the road, you go for the win. If you're at home, you go for the tie.
Yeah, to those guys that would challenge that with any coach, my comment would be to, hey, let's look at the rest of the game. Don't focus on that one play. Look at the rest of the game. Look at that great game plan they had. Look at how well conditioned and ready to play that team was. And that's what you think about your coaches. I mean, that's how you determine the job they're doing, not because they had to make that tough decision in that one moment. And, hey, anybody anybody that's on the road like that and you're the underdog, you got to go for the win, Chris. You got to.
Well, and I'd also point out that when the Warriors came out and lined up in their offense instead of with the kicker back there, the entire crowd on the Warriors side was on their feet cheering. So
Right.
it's just the Monday morning quarterbacks. You can just ignore those guys. But Brogabo again did a good job responding to the threats by Idabel. As you said, Brogabo would come and score, and then Idabel would answer it with a score. And then the Savage defense played well at times and literally saved the game, creating turnovers.
Yeah, it was a really exciting football game. Just a back and forth and really a lot of plays that were, not necessarily big, long plays down the field, but they were so exciting just in the way they developed and really the way the teams were knocking each other around.
Yeah, and Cannon Willis had a great game too. He caught an interception and returned it to like a 41-yard line, ending one Warrior drive. Just had scored a touchdown for a broken bow, and kind of showed up, as did some other players. And that in the absence of Kyron Whitfield, who sat out the game, did not play. And I think he'll be back. I think it's precautionary. But the rest of the team, you have to when you have a star player out, the rest of you have to respond. They did. Christian Brumley, starting both ways again, and man, just taking some hard knocks. He will really be happy for this week off. Brumbo is in a bye week, but you go against McAllister, you go against Durant, those big bruising offensive linemen. Brumley's a linebacker and defensive lineman. He's the quarterback. And then Idabel comes out, and Idabel's line is as big, if not bigger, than those 5A schools.
Again, you got to be looking forward to the Savage season with these young players being able to fill these roles. And you're just looking and saying, okay, well, we are a little deeper. Okay, we're not doing too badly.
Yeah, we are 2-1. Only loss is to number 1 ranked in 5A McAllister. By the way, McAllister obliterated Ada. Broken Bow gave up 34 points to McAllister. They scored 34 on Broken Bow. They scored 34 on Ada too. Ada scored 0. Broken Bow scored 24. So the Buffs are for real. You know that. But man, that Ada's got a traditional, actually one of the most successful programs in the state of Oklahoma. More state championships than almost anybody else, and they get blanked by the Buffaloes.
Well, the Savages are going to have some tests in front of them as the district schedule rolls in. With this win against Idabel, 21-20, the Savages improved to 2-1 on the season and will head into 4A4 district play where they'll see those Ada Cougars at some point. They've got the Poto Pirates and the Hilldale Hornets on the schedule as well, 2 of the top-ranked teams in Class 4A in the state of Oklahoma. So another year of 4A4 football that promises to be exciting.
So, Skip, they're going to be off this week, and thank goodness. I mean, they need a break. Broken Bow has played 3 incredibly physical football games, and they're just beat up. So it's a good chance to recover, to get healthy. It's a good chance to work on a couple of things, to work on snap discipline. In other words, on offense, get in position, get set, and give yourself a little extra time if you have to adjust, before you snap the ball. And that does come with experience. On defense, focus on movement and not sound. And what I mean is focus on the ball and when it's snapped instead of listening to the count. And that way you don't give up any offsides penalties on a hard count. And then third, you got to adjust to newcomers. You adjust to the newcomers and people that are playing like Zaretta that's in the lineup. Carl Cooks is back in, but there's just a slight difference in timing among individuals, and that's just something that as you congeal offensively and get used to that timing, you'll find that it's a much more efficient offense, and you'll have a lot better results on plays that involve timing, like sweeps and those plays where they send receivers in motion, and then on the routes. And, you also really want to rest up before the what they call the real season, quote unquote, of district play begins. And that starts after a 2-week break.
Sure does. Yeah, you can break the season up into 3 pieces, really. The preseason, which includes those 3 non-conference games, and that should be your tune-up. That should be when you get these bugs ironed out, when you get things clicking, so that as you head into that district schedule, you're prepared for these teams that are coming to get you. I mean, everybody's playing for 4 positions here, so you got to do the best you can against each of these teams. Each week is a different week. All you want to do is win. It's kind of like that same game mentality, just move the chains. In this case, just win that next district game. Just put another win in the column. That will extend your season into the third part of the season, which is the playoff schedule, and that's when things really get interesting.
Yeah, and one of the things going into this week, in this off week, there's going to be a lot of talk, a lot of predictions, and, they're going to look back on this Idabel game and see, well, what happened? And I'll tell you what happened. Idabel had a good game plan and played a great football game, and they're a good football team. So, give the Warriors the respect they deserve, but also give the Savages the respect they deserve. And I think I mentioned this before, but McAllister Buffaloes are for real, Idabel Warriors are for real, but the Broken Bow Savages are for real, folks. So, they're about to prove it in district play.
And Chris, it all starts next week as the District 4A4 schedule gets underway. The Medill Wildcats will be in Broken Bow to face the Savages right here at Memorial Stadium. Well, once again, we thank you for tuning in here on the Southeast Beast. We'll be back next week with a preview of District 4A4. Of course, there won't be a recap because the Savages have this bye week in front of them, but we have lots to talk about. We'll hope you tune back in on the next episode. But remember, until then, once a Savage,
always a Savage.